hope you've had a great. We're continuing our study of the Psalms, or reading of the Psalms. We're going to continue in Psalm 89. Yesterday we read down through verse 29. So today we're going to begin in verse 30 and continue out the Psalm. Mark?
Verse 30, Psalm 89. If his sons abandon my instructions and do not live by my ordinances, if they dishonor my statutes and do not keep my commands, then I will call their rebellion to account with the rod, their iniquity with blows. But I will not withdraw my faithful love from him or betray my faithfulness. I will not violate my covenant or change what my lips have said. Once and for all, I have sworn an oath by my holiness. I will not lie to David. His offspring will continue forever, his throne like the sun before me, like the moon established forever, a faithful witness in the sky. But you have spurned and rejected him. You have become enraged with your anointed. You have repudiated the covenant with your servant. You have completely dishonored his crown. You have broken down all his walls. You have reduced his fortified cities to ruins. All who pass by plunder him. He has become an object of ridicule to his neighbors. You have lifted high the right hand of his foes. You have made all his enemies rejoice. You have also turned back his sharp sword and have not let him stand in battle. You have made his splendor cease and have overturned his throne. You have shortened the days of his youth. You have covered him with shame. How long, Lord, will you hide forever? Will your anger keep burning like fire? Remember how short my life is. Have you created everyone for nothing? What courageous person can live and never see death? Who can save himself from the power of Sheol? Lord, where are the former acts of your faithful love that you swore to David in your faithfulness? Remember, Lord, the ridicule against your servants. In my heart I carry abuse from all people. How your enemies have ridiculed, Lord, how they have ridiculed every step of your anointed. Blessed be the Lord forever. Amen and amen. David.
This psalm really revolves around the covenant that God made both with David and his people. And because he entered into a covenant, this psalmist goes through these series of steps. First of all, it's praise and praising God for the covenant that he made. But the fact that God made a covenant because of who he is, sometimes it raises questions about why am I going through what I'm going through? And so that's the way the psalm seems to go. The end of the psalm is amazing. Because the fact we know God, that he's entered into a covenant, even if I have questions about my life in a given moment of time, yet I can still say, blessed be the Lord forever. That's an amazing sentiment. We don't know all the answers, but we know who God is and how he's revealed himself. And that's really at the heart of this psalm. I guess the one thing I really want to point out, though, the thing that struck me in this section of reading is just the statement of verse 34. I will not violate my covenant, nor will I alter the utterance of my lips. How utterly and absolute dependable God is.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on in my life from 1 hour to the next. And sometimes I can't figure out what I'm doing. But I can depend upon God and the promises that he's made, that he will never depart nor forsake me, that he has reserved for me a home in heaven, that he will save me through the blood of his son, Jesus Christ. Those are just absolutes because of who he is. He will not change. He will not alter the utterances of his lips.
Yeah. I need to know that. This has struck me every time I read a psalm like this, how honest the psalm is, of how genuine the Bible is and how reliable it is. If I were creating a God and writing a book about a God that was not real, I wouldn't include a psalm like this because on some level it makes him look bad. But God chose to leave psalms like this in here because, as we said with previous psalms, this is real life. These are the struggles that we have. Even the faithful go through moments where they are completely perplexed as to why God does what he does. And so you've got this great statement of God's absolute faithfulness, but then in verses 38 through the end of the chapter, but God, you're not doing it. It doesn't look like he's doing it to us. And you put it so well. I guess the strength of this psalm is just holding on to faith. When those difficult times come, that's the only thing you can hold on to. In the back of your mind, you're going to be screaming, but, what about? But you've got to go back to, as you pointed out, just the wonderful, wonderful promise of God. God will keep his covenant to us through Jesus, even though it seems like the world is burning around us. Bless the Lord forever.
Amen. Amen. And we need to be reminded of that all the time. When we're struggling, that's what this psalm speaks to.
Yeah.
Look to this and remind ourselves who God truly is and what he's promised.
Right, and it's not done because we are fully on board with it sometimes.
Yep.
We do it because, hey, I know God's reliable, and this is the only thing I've got right now. You hold on to him.
Amen.
All right, hope that helps you in your walk with the Lord today. We're going to be gathering Sunday morning at 9 o'clock and then at 11 o'clock for 2 different services. David's going to preach on
Let no one.
Let no one. I'm going to be preaching at the 11 o'clock hour. That's the 11 o'clock hour, 9 o'clock hour. I'm going to be preaching on what we owe the world. I invite you to come and join us. I invite you to serve the Lord somewhere. If we can help you in that journey, we'd love to do anything we can to help you. Give us a call, 502-245-0573. If you have anything you want to add to the psalm and on Facebook, jot it down in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you.